How's that? That looks okay. Oh, too many controllers. What am I doing here? Hi. So, what I thought we would do is just a quick little surprise stream to mess around. I just get the chat up and running with the Nintendo Switch Online stuff, which I didn't really get a chance to play yet because the night that I was going to stream it was the night it came out, and it didn't come out till pretty late, and I was already watching other streams, so I was like, whatever. And so I figured, I got some time early. I know, Sarah's going to stream later. Some other people stream later. I thought I'd hop on now and play around with it. So let me just tweet out that we're streaming, and we'll start messing around with it. I'll be right back. Okay, so, oh, wait, hold on. Let me turn the volume down. Hi. Puzzle's demanding food. Would you like to make a cameo appearance on the stream? Come here. Would you like to say hi to everybody? Say hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Puzzle. No. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so as I was saying, I wanted to mess around with the Nintendo Switch Online and show off what is available here, because I haven't really, outside of that night, I didn't really do much with it. I just kind of hopped on real quick and looked around and said, oh, cool. So, yeah, so there's some new games. So, NES Open Tournament Golf, I'm told, and I have only vague memories of this game, I'm told is actually not half bad. Solomon's Key, I don't remember much about. Super Dodgeball is a really fun game from the makers of River City Ransom. And then this Zelda is, it's like a ROM hack, basically, that gives you a lot of stuff. So, let's, this is, what a random choice of games this is, even. I'm not even sure what to play. Let's see what the Zelda does. Oh, it puts you right into it. Okay. So this gives you everything. Oh, not everything. Oh, I thought it was. Oh, okay. I kind of misunderstood, I guess. But it gives you, so you got the bracelet, you got the candle, you got the blue ring. Are those silver arrows, I guess? You got 9 keys. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much set, but let's see what happens when we go in here, even. Oh, it's already gone. Yeah, dude, this is just a ROM hack. This is super lazy of them. Oh, okay. And it's gonna give you everything. Yeah, I mean, this is it's kind of cool, I guess. So we don't have the boomerang. Oh, so what you don't have is the stuff from dungeons. Okay, got it. Yeah, because you can, yeah, you can use this to warp around. Okay. Interesting. I mean, this is kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, that's I always thought there was something you bombed right there, but I guess not. Yeah, and there's a heart container, so you need the ladder, which you don't have, because you gotta get that, what's that, level... It's level 4, I think, right? Okay. Yeah, so this is just, you know, it's interesting. It's like it's just a good way to kind of get you started here. If, I was gonna stream this game, not that I'm, like, totally already not planning that at some point. You know, this would be a good way to just kind of start off, just to get a head start with a game that is, you know, incredible, but, you know, can be a little cumbersome. Especially if you're just looking to stream it to, you know, go through it. Like I would be. I mean, that's been some of the frustration I've had with a couple of the RPGs we've played, is that they are annoying to beat. Because you have to do so much, like, that's been our problem with Phantasy Star. You have to spend so much time grinding that it becomes pretty frustrating. So this is level 3. I just kind of decided to go into whatever the nearest level was. Or no, this is 2. 2? Yeah, 2. Okay, got it. And what I plan on doing here, just for a little while, is just kind of hopping around games. 10 keys, wow. That's kind of cool to see on the screen. And keys are... they're not super hard to find, because you can kind of skip... If you know what you're doing, you can skip a lot of places that you don't need to use that key, because you can go over... Here, I'll show you. You can go over, and then I'm pretty sure you can bomb back down. And here's where you get your boomerang. Man, having the blue ring is so helpful right here. Yep. Yeah, so you can avoid that key altogether and beat up the chocolate chips. And you can bomb down. And, I mean, you know, the first time you play through, you're totally not going to know this, but... You know, once you realize that you can bomb through everything, you're good to go. Yeah, they're even giving you more bombs. So, when I did the episode about this game, I talked about, you know, my friend growing up, who was the one who was playing through this game. And we would all, like, just sit and watch, and we immediately figured out what that riddle meant. That it meant you gotta bomb him. It took a couple tries, though, to figure out, you know, that you gotta you can't really hit him in the face. I mean, you kinda can, but... Like, that's not really what you're supposed to do. See, because it just does that. Yeah. There you go. But we figured that out, you know, immediately. We all just kind of looked at each other and we're like, yeah, you know, bombs. Because we'd become so accustomed to smoke bombs, which were a hot thing in our neighborhood at the time. So one thing that does frustrate about the Switch controller playing old games is using the I guess, can you use the... Oh yeah, you can use the pad. But using the analog stick with games that only accept, you know, up, down, left, right input can be slightly frustrating, I suppose. So these SP games, too, they're supposed to be doing more. I read there's supposed to be a Metroid one coming. Yeah, so here's another place where... Oh, we don't have the candle yet. Okay. Yeah, so you still gotta go through the game. They just, and there's a candle here, too. They just gave you kind of a boost. So they didn't even give you everything. They only give you some. Okay. And so now we can pause, and then we hit to suspend. So it's just like on the 3DS, where you can create a suspend point, game saved. And then go back to your game selection. Yeah, so we're gonna, there's nobody watching the stream right now, so I'm not really telling anyone, but we're gonna stream Zelda over the winter holidays. We're gonna play a little while every day. I think that's gonna be, I had this idea to play in the morning. I don't know. We'll see. So, let's play Super Dodgeball. So, as I'd said, this is from the makers of River City Ransom. And you'll recognize the music and some of the, I gotta remember how you play this. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you'll kind of recognize, you know, the River City Ransom sprites. And kind of similar music, too. Unfortunately, this is a game that's, you know, much better two-player, of course. Ah. Come on, pick it up. And, you know, we did, you know, a stream of another game in the same vein, you know, Nintendo World Cup. We streamed back in, what was that? Back in June. Oh, we missed. Yeah, this is much better, you know, two-player, as Nintendo World Cup is. And, you know, in some ways, River City Ransom's great on its own, but it's way better as a two-player. We had a lot of fun in the mid-90s. Some of the kids we skated with that were a little younger than us, introducing them to River City Ransom, they got really into it. There's this whole little crew of skaters in our neighborhood that were real into two-player, like Contra, River City Ransom, Narc, games like that. I mean, Narc is terrible, but... yeah, and you can hit people from the side, too. Oh, I lost the ball. Okay. So that's Jack. We gotta figure out who Fred is. Oh, that's Fred. Okay. Yeah, so he's out. Yeah, as I said, this is... I think it's a way better game. You know, playing two-player, it's kind of... it kind of drags on. This was the kind of game you rented, and then probably didn't think too much of again. But there was we had a friend who had it, this kid up the street. So we used to play it at his house sometimes. I had a really crush on his cousin. Who was this kind of tomboy girl that hung out with us sometimes. She used to play hockey with us in the winter. Hey, Sarah. This is Super Dodgeball. From the makers of River City Ransom, actually. And a couple other games we've streamed. Nintendo World Cup. And so I've just been kind of messing around in here. We played a little Zelda for a minute of that new SP mode that they created. That's like a... I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of a ROM hack. basically. But yeah, so this is Super Dodgeball, and we just won. And this was, as I was just saying, you know, this was a fun game back then. It was better as a two-player. Because what sucks is you've got to go around to all these different countries, but there's no password. So you've got to do it all at once, which led to it being a game that you rented, and you sat down for an afternoon, and you beat it, and then you just, like, never really thought about it again, except, like I was saying, we had a friend that had it, so every so often you'd just, like, sit down and mess around with it at his house a little bit. So, let's go back to our game selection screen. So, these are the 4 new ones this month. NES Open Tournament Golf, which I'm told people swear by. It's not horrible. Golf games back then were, I mean, golf is terrible, but golf games were not good until the Genesis, and I still kind of don't get them that well. Solomon's Key, which is, I don't know if I'm allowed to call it a Metroidvania, but it's kind of a Metroidvania in the vein of, like Legacy of the Wizard kind of game. And then Super Dodgeball, and then, yeah, this is Zelda SP Special Edition. It's essentially a ROM hack to give you a bunch of power-ups. They basically give you everything that you don't get in one of the first 8 dungeons, plus everything from the last dungeon. So you have, well, no, actually not. No, it's not anything from any of the dungeons. So you don't have the boomerang, you don't have the candle, you don't have the bow. So you have silver arrows, but no bow. So you have to go around to get all that. Which, I don't know. I mean, that's cool, I guess. I mean, people have been kind of downplaying it a little bit, but, you know, I think that's kind of a neat idea. So then you got Balloon Fight, Baseball, Donkey Kong, Double Dragon. Double Dragon is awesome. Again, you know, kind of from the makers of River City Ransom. Dr. Mario, which is a Tetris knockoff. Excite Bike, which, man, Excite Bike seems so cool in 1987, and it kind of isn't. Ghosts and Goblins, which we played its sequel, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, a few weeks ago. Soccer, and then, oh man, River City Ransom, one of the greatest games ever made. Pro Wrestling, which I'd love to, Pro Wrestling came up on the podcast, sometime in the summer. There was a listener question about wrestling games, and one of the ones that I mentioned, without knowing it was going to be on here, was Pro Wrestling, that I'd not played it since, oh boy. So let's see, if we got an NES at Christmas '88, the last time I played Pro Wrestling, so if that was winter '88, the last time I played Pro Wrestling was probably spring '88, maybe a little before then. So it's been a while. Mario Brothers, Ice Hockey. Ice Hockey was badass as all hell back then. It sort of held up, sort of not, but Ice Hockey was, oh man, it was so cool. Ice Climber, Gradius, which apparently one of the games that's going to get an SP mode is Gradius. Metroid as well, which is interesting. Mario Brothers, Mario 3, Tecmo Bowl. It's hard to describe how cool Tecmo Bowl was at the time. Football games were another one that all of them were pretty bad. Tennis, Zelda, Yoshi. In fact, let's play some ice hockey. So this was another one that came out in '88. And so you've got really only 6 teams. and you can play at different speeds. There's also some controller codes you can put in, and I don't remember them. I don't remember them off the top. Oh yeah, the player sprites in this game are, wait till you see them. They are adorable. There are codes you can put in to, there's a couple different codes. There's one that makes the puck ricochet all over the place. So every time it hits the wall, it just goes, like, ponging off. And there's another one, so there's no goalies, which is the mode that we used to play all the time growing up, because that was, massively fun. So check out your little, sprites here. So you can decide what players you want. You can have all the middle guys who are kind of, general players. You can have the big defenders who are slow but, can, like, brutalize people. And then you can get the skinny little guys who are really fast but can get hit really hard. I mean, even just the matter of being able to, like, change for the face-off and stuff like that was, like, so cool at the time. And this game, very infamously, was the subject of a Nintendo Power letter, where a dude talked about him and his family going, like, it was like 3 or 4 states to find the game and all this wackiness, and they finally found it. Yeah, see? Oh! This game's kind of hard to stream because you gotta get used to the, your reaction times. Yeah, well, it's quite a long way to go for a video game. Yeah, I completely agree. But that was back when, and we certainly experienced this too. You'd see a commercial for a game, and there isn't a store in the next state that has it. That was a... nowadays... games are everywhere, or, at worst, you can buy it digitally, probably. Back then, not so much. And there's this, in one of the first issues of Nintendo Power, there's this just epic letter detailing all they had to do to find the game finally. And I mean, that was a lot of times how you'd end up being into a game, because that was the game your parents could find. So you'd kind of be stuck with it. Or like the story I told on the Genesis episode last year about how we got Madden 93 and everybody else got Madden 92 because my mother just so happened to be in the store in Toys R Us the day that they got Madden 93. And we kind of scooped the whole neighborhood. We had the new game, and people were like, wait, what? Nobody even knew. Well, maybe they did, but, like, nobody's parents knew. Mine did, because I would never shut the hell up about it. As did my guidance counselors and teachers, because I would just never stop talking about Nintendo. And hey, I turned out okay. Probably. Yeah. Guys, yeah, imagine if I could find those people. Yeah, oh wow, you got a master's degree, you teach, that's so great. Yeah, but like, people watch me stream Zelda, that's the really fucking cool part. They'd probably be bummed. Yeah, you gotta play at the faster speed, really, in this game. Yeah. Yeah, I'm super normal, I tell you. Oh, crap. I'm trying to get in a fight. You can fight in this game, too, which is pretty cool. Before, the NHL started being like, hey, no fighting in our games, please. I have 30 years ago muscle memory of the NES Advantage. Oh, there we go. Just kind of passed it in. So in... and don't quote me on this, but it was either NHL 94 or 95, they took fighting out. Because the NHL was... You know, this was kind of at the beginning of all the kind of hullabaloo about video game violence, which was just the origins of that was just actually discussed on an episode of Generation 16. I think their most recent episode talked about that. There was a kind of a decree that came down from, I think it was from the NHL, that said you gotta get fighting out. Because in the first couple of NHL games on the Genesis, you could just brutalize people. In the same way that you could in Madden too. I mean, you could hit somebody after a play in Madden, and they would get hurt, and the ambulance would be called to pick them up. And it's so... it's so wild looking back how they allowed, Oh yeah, by the way, the Zamboni sprites are great too. They also allowed, the ambulance to, like, run over players as it picked them up, too. Like, it's, just, like, looking back at this, I can't believe this was a real thing. You know, there's great videos on YouTube of it. Yeah, there we go, fight. Yeah, nowadays, that would not fly very well, I don't think. Oh, no, I couldn't reach it. Yeah, I got the penalty, so I must have beat him up. Yeah, the first couple NHL games, you could just, like, brutalize people in the fights. It was pretty awesome. Well, the other game, that's basically skinned off of the NHL games that I've referenced on the podcast, and at some point we'll do a podcast about it, is, whoops. Is Mutant League Hockey is the other one, and Mutant League Football. They were basically reskins of, and don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they were, of those games, and they're, like, really cool. There was actually just a new Mutant League Football, I think it was football game made. Yeah, so on all these the retro games, they have suspend points, just like on the 3DS, basically. It's the same kind of thing. Be nice if they gave you an SP mode for Mario 3. Remember, we had all kinds of trouble playing that. Mario 3's hard. I remember Mario 3 being hard back then. That's kind of my memory of it, is that game was pretty brutal. Whenever we finally do a podcast about it, my thoughts on it are basically going to be a lot of the things that the game tries to do, Super Mario World does a lot better. River City Ransom. Seriously, this is top 20 game ever, basically. So this dude named Slick holds your girlfriend hostage, and you've got to fight all of his gangs of students throughout the game. And I have no idea why, but everyone in my neighborhood was obsessed with it. It's just amazing. It's basically Double Dragon, but an RPG. Because you have stat increases, you level up, you kind of need to grind, you pick up new abilities. Yeah, I mean, it's an RPG, basically. Oh yeah, and people can throw garbage cans at you. But you can also jump on them. And then you get to a mall, a town, a village, if you will. And if you pause, you can check out your items. Now, we haven't purchased anything yet. You can check out your level. Oh, that's just, yeah, right. And in your status, and you can level up to different things. Yeah, I mean, this is... And it also has a zany password system that I don't miss. And so you go into these shops and you can purchase things. And now for now, what we're trying to do is we got to go here. I think it's here. To the bookstore. And we want to get... Eventually, you want to have both Stone Hands and Dragon Feet. So $26.95. So we're almost to it. So let's go back and grind a little bit. And you get different abilities that you can use. In fact, we can see our money if you hit select. Yeah, 27. Oh, whoops. And we did a podcast about River City Ransom, last year. I guess it was last year. Or it might have been this year. It might have been 2018, maybe. And so now you go to your belongings, and you go to your Dragon Feet, you read the book, and you acquire a technique called Dragon Feet. And now when you go to your next thing here, you can brutalize people. And you can go into the park here. A couple things about the park. There's a boss here, but you've got to come back to get him. You have to beat a couple more bosses after this one, and then you come back. You kind of backtrack. The system I usually use in this game is to actually backtrack anyway. Every time you fight a boss, the way that I would grind would be to go back to the beginning, and then make your way all the way through again, and then, you know, fight to the next boss, go back all the way, and then fight to the next boss. Now, the other thing that we used to do in here, too, is, see, you got the baseball and you've got your bat. What we would do is, when we were playing two-player, we would play baseball in here, where one person would pitch and the other would hit. I mean, that got old after, you know, like 2 minutes, but we used to do it all the time. Yeah, and here's your first boss is right here. If we can find baddies. Oh, gonna die. So when you die, you go back to the most recent mall you were at, and you lose half your money, which kind of sucks when you start having a lot of money. You could have like $50 and you go down to 25. You know, it's like if you got under 10, you know, it's not really that big of a deal, but it does kind of suck if you lose a lot. Now, over the years, you know, this game is straightforward enough that you don't really have to think, I don't think you really need to think too much about how you're grinding and what you're optimizing and whatnot, but, you know, I'm sure there are people out there who've built, you know, really good guides for this game. If we were ever to do a run-through of it, which sounds like a good idea to me. I'd love to, you know, try that, because I've always just kind of just grinded, used the system like I was talking about, where you get, you beat the boss here, and then, you know, once you beat him, don't go to the next level, you know, go backwards. go back to the beginning and just keep leveling up. And that's, yeah, here he is, Moose. Yeah, Moose is quick. And then instead of going forward, go back and fight your way through again. This game also has really catchy music. And the Double Dragon theme shows up at the end of it. Which is pretty cool. Which was the first time it happened. It was a really cool moment. Those last couple battles are pretty tough. The last time I played through this was 3DS, I think. Yeah, 3DS for the podcast. A couple holidays ago. Right after Christmas. It was the year that HBO did the big Wire marathon. I was watching the last couple episodes of every season at night and playing River City Ransom. So now go back again. And, go to the mall. And, you just almost have enough for stone hands, too. And then you can start buying food and other items that level you up. And, like I said, I've always just kind of casually gone through this and been fine, but I'm sure there are ways to really, play this kind of correctly. But this game is so cool. It's one of my favorites. I'm really happy that it's on this collection. Yeah, so now we're back at the beginning of the game. And we're back to the high school. Cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much all we got here. There's a 2-player mode, and you can play online, but it seems that you can only play games with your friends online. You can't just hook up with some random person, which kind of sucks. I kind of thought that that would be awesome if you could play, say, River City Ransom, or Tecmo Bowl or something like that, 2-player with somebody, in the ways that you can on the Genesis collection. You can play. Oh, yeah, it's hard to find people because there's not that many people on it, but you can play with different people, which is cool. So, all right, cool. I just wanted to show this off finally because we hadn't had a chance yet. So, as always, drawfeels.net is the place for the podcast. New episode soonish on Super Castlevania 4. Should be out next week. Sometime. And podcasts, future podcasts, Streets of Rage 2, Gunstar Heroes, Alien Storm, etc. bit.ly/WPW Extra Life takes you to our Extra Life donation page. Please do consider donating to our stream, to our cause. We're going to be streaming on November 3rd for Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We've already raised 20% of our goal, so we're off to a pretty good start. And I know I've had other people promise that they were gonna donate, so very cool. So check that out. And We'll be back as long as I get out of work when I think I am tomorrow. We're gonna stream. We're not gonna stream Octopath Traveler. We're actually gonna stream Valkyria Chronicles 4. So I want to get through Valkron 4 before we get back to Octopath. I'm trying to only play one game at a time if I can. Yeah, check that out. Thank you, as always, Sarah, for dropping by. Sarah, are you streaming tonight? We should give you a little plug. Super Sarah with 3 A's. Please check her stream out if she's streaming later on tonight. Please do visit that. I'm sure I will. Sarah says she will be streaming tonight. Excellent. So, yeah, I'll be there for that for sure. And that was one of the reasons why I popped on early. I didn't want to cross into hers, or I have a couple friends who stream on Thursday nights, so I didn't want to bump into anybody's. So, but I've been thinking about it today at work that we never quite got on and looked at the Switch Online stuff. So, yeah, there's some interesting stuff we could play on here. We're gonna play A Hat in Time. Okay, cool. Yeah, that game looked cool last week. We could play. Yeah, I'd love to do a run through River City Ransom on the stream. Gradius is another one. Although we need to wait for the SP mode because that game is hard. Double Dragon. We need an SP mode for Ghosts and Goblins. That game is brutal. Don't tell anybody yet, but over winter break, we're going to stream Zelda. And yeah, so there's some interesting stuff on here. I like the... I like and I hate the idea that they're going to, like, slow burn, introduce games on it. In a way, I kind of like that, so it's not really overwhelmed. Like, if they gave you 200 games, I kind of wouldn't like that, because I feel like, you end up playing every game for 5 minutes. I think slow burning them is kind of a good idea, I think. And just kind of building the library slowly, I think is at the end of the day, I think it's a good idea. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting. And there's there's other games on the NES and SNES and elsewhere that you can these games are accessible, pretty much. And for $20 a year, the Switch Online thing, I mean, that's nothing. That's what, a third of the price of the PS4, which is, I think it's like $60 at this point. And I mostly have that for the free games. I don't even play online that much. I hate playing online. So, all right, cool. Everybody head over to Sarah's stream later on. Please do. Please follow her and all. And I'm going to go make some dinner. And then, we'll be back for that later. And I'll be on tomorrow. Yeah, like I said, if I get out in the afternoon when I think I'm getting out, we'll stream some Valkyria Chronicles tomorrow afternoon. All right, cool. Talk soon.